welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween! Before we start off, yes, my hair is pink. These videos are not about my appearance at all, but anytime I look different, I just feel the need to immediately address the elephant in the room. So yeah, my hair's pink. Also have on my super cool vintage Halloween vest. It's got bats, little stars, cute, creepy Halloween cats. But yeah, as you can see by the title of today's video, today we are continuing and ending, kind of, the Halloween franchise with Halloween Ends 2022, directed by David Gordon Green. Concluding entry to the Blumhouse trilogy. I will say though, this is not my last Halloween video that I will be making. Actually, my next two videos will be Halloween related. But this is technically the end of me doing these Halloween commentaries for the channel, at least for the near future. So yeah, Halloween Ends. We've made it. But before we get into the film, I just need to say a couple things. Now, most of you were super awesome in the comments of my Halloween Kills commentary. I realize this is also a very controversial film, probably the most controversial in the Blumhouse trilogy. I know how people react to this film. I know how passionate people get when somebody talks about or even mentions Halloween Ends. And much like Kills, people who hate this film just cannot pass up an opportunity to talk crap about this film, which is actually like insane to me, because when I don't like something, I just don't say anything. Now, I saw this opening night. I saw the initial reactions, the initial reviews of this film. I know all the critiques. Most of them I don't agree with, which I will discuss throughout the commentary when we get to those parts of the film. But I just wanted to remind everyone that, like, this is my channel. This is my tiny little minuscule corner of the internet where I speak about films that I love. The internet is massive, so you can go somewhere else to talk about how you think this film is trash and how David Gordon Green is trash. Oh my gosh, that poor man. I hope that he doesn't have social media, or that like his crew or his friends aren't like letting him know the terrible things that people have been saying on the internet, especially now that Exorcist Believer came out. Oof. Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you hate this film. I don't care if you hate it. It's not the end of the world. That's not what like upsets me. I think what gets me is like if I stumbled upon somebody reviewing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, a film that I hate with a passion, but they clearly love this film and are celebrating this film because they think it's unique or just really good or whatever. I'm not going to be in the comments of that video like, oh, this film's trash. I would simply think to myself, okay, this person has a different opinion than me. I don't agree at all. Whatever, move on. You don't always have to comment on everything. If you have that much to say about it, or you hate it that much and you want to talk about it, make your own video. Create your own platform and do that. I will guarantee people will agree with you, but leave that person alone. They clearly love it. Read the room. And yeah, like I said, if I don't like a movie, usually I just won't even talk about it unless it's a part of a franchise that I'm covering for my channel, in which case like I kind of do have to talk about it. I just remember when this film first came out, the amount of hatred towards the actors, the writers, members of the crew, and just towards anyone who had anything positive to say about the film. I just had never been so disappointed in the Halloween fandom, and that reaction from people actually made me scared to eventually cover the Blumhouse trilogy on my channel. And anytime I've watched a Halloween Ends related video on YouTube, I go to the comments, and the comments are just the absolute worst place to be. They're just so awful, and yikes. So yeah, comments on this video may or may not be eventually turned off. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel down the line. But yeah, I just really felt the need to say that and just be honest. And you know, I guess it's kind of cool in a weird way, like how few people actually do appreciate and love this film. Like it feels like we're in a little club and that's kind of nice. So yeah, enough of me yapping. Let's get into Halloween Ends. You knew right from the beginning that this was going to be different. But also, Universal did put out that synopsis of the film around the time that first trailer came out, indicating that there was going to be a character named Corey and that we were going to follow him. And I think David Gordon Green also did an interview saying that the same thing, and that this was going to be very different than the preceding two films. So we weren't lied to. We weren't misled. You should have known that this was going to be different. Sorry, just saying. And that blue font as an homage to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, love it.
Charlie, oh, I'm gonna get you.
And this opening is insane. You know it's not going to be good when someone's getting babysat in a Halloween film.
It's Halloween. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Love it. Love the homage to not only the original Halloween, but to Carpenter himself with The Thing. I don't blame Corey. I love chocolate milk too.
Hey, let me out.
Are you scared?
Let me out.
This is so brutal. What's coming up here? I can't.
I'm gonna kill you, Jeremy.
What was that?
Whew. Gosh, I remember the reaction of our audience. Most people just gasped in shock. And then of course there are people who just laugh, so. And these opening titles are just so incredible, but I've loved every single opening title sequence in the entire franchise, so. But yeah, my initial reaction to that opening scene was just being shocked, and it was so unexpected. It's like I'm surprised to not see Michael in the opening sequence, but I'm so intrigued by what I just witnessed and what could possibly come next. And that's pretty much what I thought like throughout the entire film. But I just want to talk really quickly about my theater experience first time watching this film opening night, because it was probably the most uncomfortable theater experience I've ever had, and it has nothing to do with the film or the audience. So I'm sitting there watching the film, and it's to about the point where the junkyard scene is happening, and the theater has been really cold throughout the entire film, but I don't know who cranked that sucker up, because suddenly it was absolutely freezing. And I live in Texas and it wasn't very cold outside, so I was wearing like a long sleeve shirt and shorts. I am also a very sensitive gal, extremely sensitive to extreme heat and extreme cold. Like, I just don't handle that well at all. Anyway, it got to the point where my body pretty much went into shock from being so cold, and I started to have a panic attack in the theater. My heart was beating as fast as it has ever beat, and I started to tremble, and I could not calm myself down. I whispered to my boyfriend several times throughout the movie, like, I can't do this. Like, I have to get out of this theater right now or else I will pass away. But I had to keep saying to myself, don't leave. You have to watch this film in theaters. You will regret it if you leave right now. Anyways, long story short, once it got to the Laurie Michael fight towards the very end, I was so invested that I kind of forgot how cold I was, which is a good thing because I was able to stick it out and finish the film in the theater. But yeah, it was terrible. I know I could have just gone home and watched it on Peacock, but yeah, it was the most uncomfortable theater experience I've ever had. That had nothing to do with the film or like a bad audience. It was just me being very sensitive to my surroundings. I will say I did see it a couple days later in another theater and it was perfect. So I did get my good theater experience watching this film. So I do understand why people bring blankets to movie theaters now. Lesson learned.
In the years that followed, the people of Haddonfield descended into a plague of grief, of blame, of paranoia.
So this is super interesting, finding out how the events of 2018 and kills affected the citizens of Haddonfield. There's this overwhelming grief and paranoia and darkness that is consuming Haddonfield, and it's very palpable.
I bought a home, a place to live with love and trust, not a trap, not a place to hide.
I will say though, as a Laurie lover, I do love how she tried to move on or start over after the bloodbath that was Kills. Like, I just always wanted the best for her, and seeing her like decorate her house for Halloween and baking pies is just so wholesome.
You think?
Yeah?
I got no use for it no more.
Are you serious?
Finally make it to work on time, you know what I mean?
Really enjoy the relationship between Corey and Ronald. I will say, because I'm sure it'll probably come up in the comments at some point, but I have not read the Halloween Ends novelization. I do own it, and I did start reading it. I read about 100 pages. However, that was right around the time that I moved, So once I moved, I totally got busy with other things, and unfortunately, I just never picked it up again. I do plan to, and ideally I would have loved to finish it before making this video, but maybe that could be its own video in the future. Like after I finish reading it, we could talk about it, because I know it delves into a lot of the elements of the film more in depth, and I've heard a lot of people who say that they hate this film actually really enjoy the novelization. So I do want to talk about it at some point. But yeah, I did make it to the point in the novelization where Corey and Allison listened to like a mixtape that Lindsay made her of like Cocteau Twins, Susie and the Banshees, Slow Dive. So yeah, Mr. Paul Brad Logan, you have impeccable music taste, sir. Like my heart fluttered when I read that part.
You're under arrest for being the prettiest girl I know.
That's nice, Doug.
Yikes. Like, I love Allison, but her taste in men throughout this whole trilogy has been very questionable.
It's no hang on, come on.
These kids are so obnoxious.
He killed that kid, didn't he?
Yep. Stop the kid hard. That's right. Right. So where's your next victim?
Visually, it's just kind of funny because Corey, Rowan Campbell, is so much larger than any of these kids. So seeing him get pushed around by them is a little weird. I mean, they get what's coming to them later, so it's okay.
Knock it off!
We're not doing anything. I mean, a psycho meets a freak show. This is a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it is a match made in heaven, actually.
So do you want to do it? Or you want me to?
I love it. I love her so much.
Well, someone's getting into the spirit of things. This gentleman had an accident.
Why does Lori say it like that, though? This gentleman has had a little accident, like Corey's 8 years old and he just pissied his pants.
Well, I'm supposed to get this promotion, but either way, it's just...
Is it worth it?
And I know one of the criticisms is that Allison and Corey's relationship feels like kind of rushed, and that it would have been better if they had introduced Corey in maybe like 2018 or Halloween Kills, just so that like we know him and maybe these characters have already met, so that it feels a little bit more natural that they like fall in love. I do kind of agree with that, but I also don't agree that their relationship feels that rushed. I mean, things sometimes do move really quickly, especially like these types of relationships. I just see it as they've both been through really traumatizing things. Corey's a little f***ed up, Allison's a little up, but when Allison's around Corey, she feels like she can just allow herself to be a little f***ed up and not have to put on this facade of normalcy. And that's just evident from the start, that attraction.
Why can't the bicycle stand on its own?
No, it can't. It's got a kickstand.
Because it was too tired.
She's too cute.
I got a motorcycle.
Oh, a motorcycle. Teach me to ride it?
Yeah.
It makes you want to rip off your shirt and show Grief your fucking tits and say, you know what? Let's go. This is delicious.
What a disgusting transition from the pumpkin guts to those disgusting looking spaghetti. Love it though.
What the hell are you doing? Who's that calling you under the dinner table?
Lady, this is a grown-ass man who just happens to love chocolate milk.
I like your hair.
Thanks. Thanks.
This scene is just so beautiful. This little interaction between Lori and Hawkins. She's still the same girl from 1978. This shy, awkward, twirling her hair. The same girl who's too embarrassed. Annie asked out Ben Tramer for her. And it's just so nice to see her happy, even if just for a little moment.
What you smiling about? What did you buy at the store?
And this.
See what he did to my sister? He killed her husband and he stabbed her. She cannot speak because of you.
Just going from being so happy and giddy to just being confronted with all this pain and trauma and guilt. Something that she just can't seem to escape no matter what she does, because it just follows her literally everywhere in this town. And none of this was her fault, so.
Hey, Scarecrow! Anything you like?
Love the Nick Castle cameo. It's perfect. Perfect. Absolutely loving the goth look on Miss Lindsay Wallace. And this dance sequence to Dead Kennedys, love. Just such a good moment of levity before all the really bad shit starts to happen.
Hey!
sorry.
Sorry for killing my son.
Damn, I mean, it was kind of your son's fault. Just saying.
I was just trying to help you.
People look at me like, who is this guy? Who is this monster? I'm the psycho babysitter. I'm the f***ing kid killer.
Absolutely love that shot of Allison's hand and then the moon. It's just such interesting and beautiful visual storytelling. Now, it was this point of the film where I turned to my boyfriend and I said, "Where's Michael?" Like, I'm loving all this. I'm loving the story and I'm intrigued and I'm compelled, but where's Michael?
I know what it looks like when somebody hates you. When your father f***ing hates you. He hates me?
So I remember reading an interview with David Gordon Green where he's like kind of talking about his inspiration and the films that kind of inspired him. I remember two of them. I don't remember the third one, but I remember two of them were Christine and Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. Now, I cannot stand Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. I watched that a few years ago on Shudder and it was maddening. But I can definitely see the inspiration with Corey's mom. Crazy, disgusting bitch. And Christine. I love Christine, an absolute classic. But yeah, I remember watching this film and really, really seeing that Christine inspiration, especially with the bullies and the junkyard scene later. And of course, all the other references like Corey Cunningham, Arnie Cunningham, and just the idea of this geeky loner kid being transformed in a way by evil and kind of crosses over to the dark side. I think it's brilliant. Okay, we've made it to the scene. I do have some thoughts about this, but I'll talk about it after the scene. Oh, I love that. That shot is so incredibly stunning, and the score too, of course, is so powerful. But yeah, I have to talk about that scene, obviously. I remember when that scene happened in the theater when Michael and Corey locked eyes, and I immediately turned to my boyfriend and I said, "Oh no, they're doing it." Now that was just my initial reaction. As the film went on, I realized I was wrong and they weren't actually doing what I thought they were initially doing, which what I thought was this possession type thing. And I wasn't really going to be into that, just being honest. But in my opinion, again, I haven't read the novelization, so I'm sure that they expand on this there, but I've come to see this interaction between Michael and Corey as not a possession but an awakening of the evil within Corey. So they lock eyes, and what happens is not a transfer of evil but a recognition of the evil that was already there in both of them, in Corey and in Michael. I think the only real difference is Michael has always been unexplainably evil, but Corey has been made into a monster, which is kind of explained a little bit later when Lori is talking to Jeremy's dad. And I'll comment on that later when we get to that scene. But yeah, the evil present in both Michael and Corey is the same, which is actually what I believe this film to be about at the end of everything. It's about so much more than just Michael or just Lori or just Allison or just Corey. It's got so many underlying themes and intricacies, and not everyone got that. Or maybe some people got it, but they just didn't connect with it. But I absolutely love it. And I didn't realize that on the first viewing. But I eventually did, and I sat with it, and I just think it is so underappreciated.
You have to ask yourself, am I in control, or do the elements control me? Life or death, or cherry blossoms?
I want to read Lori's memoir. Is that expanded on in the novelization? I love this so much. Talk about an homage to the original that's different but still bone-chilling because it evokes that same exact fear in Lori that she had back in 1978 seeing Michael. And it's brilliant, again, because of that recognition of evil. It doesn't have to be Michael or Corey. It could be any shape or form. I love it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just waiting for Allison.
The amount of trauma that just came rushing back to Lori in that moment.
It's a lot about rage and trauma colliding.
I want to look at you like I'm not afraid of these people.
I just want to shout out Rowan Campbell really quick for just such an incredible and complex performance. Because we are with the character of Corey, love him or hate him, I don't care. We are with the character of Corey throughout most of the film. And I think if this portrayal of this character hadn't been so incredibly performed, his whole story just wouldn't have been as compelling. But I truly think that he knocked it out of the park. Like, his character in this story is just so intriguing. The character is so, like I said, compelling as he slips further and further down into just absolute madness.
You told me that you want to burn it down. Oh, you told me you want to burn it down. Hey, twice in 1 week. Pretty cool.
And of course, Mulaney. Don't f with the Mulaney's. I love this so much personally, but I just can't unsee it now. I think it was like a behind the scenes thing where Jamie Lee Curtis said it was as if David Gordon Green was making an indie love story in the middle of a horror film. And I absolutely love that. I know not everyone loved that, but this film is not just a horror film or slasher film. It's got angst and it's kind of sexy. I just really understand the vision that they had for this film. It excites me.
You say it was an accident, but I know what you did.
And I think this scene is very interesting. And I'll talk about it more in a sec, but I want to watch this right now.
Show me how to do it.
Okay, a lot to unpack there. I love the whole show me how to do it. Again, it reminds me a lot of Christine. You know, after the bullies destroy Christine, and there's that line by Arnie, and he says, "Show me." And then that incredible sequence of Christine kind of like resurrecting, healing herself, powering back up. I see such similarities between these two sequences. And also, going back to Halloween Kills, if you remember at the end, Laurie's speech about Michael, the more he kills, the more he transcends, which I've always loved that speech. But I do admit it confused me a little bit, because if that were true, Michael killed a lot of people in Halloween Kills, like a lot of people. Wouldn't he then be at his strongest? Like, what made him hide away for so long and become so weak? I'm not sure if that is expanded on in the novelization, but those were just kind of my initial questions, like when watching this and thinking back to her speech at the end of Kills. Because in my head, Michael was absolutely thriving on fear at the end of Kills. But I guess this just kind of goes back to, and this is kind of proven later, the vessel is still human. It still ages. It can still feel pain. It's the evil inside that's indestructible. So good.
You talk to me like I'm not even here. Do you ever just shut your goddamn mouth?
I know, right?
I know I talk too much.
Hey, Roger.
There's someone I want you to meet.
Love the bond between Laurie and Lindsay after all these years. I know Lindsay doesn't have a lot of scenes in this movie, but I do like her little scenes with Laurie and Allison earlier.
Corey was a good kid. I just couldn't imagine he'd be capable of hurting anyone on purpose.
And I love this monologue by Jeremy's father here.
And he looks at me, and it's not him. At least not in the eyes. The kid who used to mow our lawn didn't kill my son. I know that. Did the town do this to him after the accident? Or was it always there?
It just goes back to what I said earlier about Michael just always being so unexplainably evil, and that's what makes him so scary. That's what's always made him so scary, that he was evil for seemingly no reason. But Corey's circumstances are so different. Jeremy's father said, like, it's not the same kid who used to mow his lawn and babysit. Like, he used to be such a nice kid. He changed over time after the death of Jeremy, with the town treating him as if he were this monster. It's as if this whole town believing that Corey is this monster after what was just an accident with this kid manifested that evil within Corey to come out and to truly become what everyone else thought he was. I just think it's really interesting to think about.
All right, Alexa, Coming With Your Eyes by Rob Galbraith.
And these people, I mean, I don't think they necessarily deserve their fate. I mean, they're not good people, but I do love this sequence. And it was some good practice for Corey.
Dr. Mathis?
I love this whole sequence. It was just so thrilling to watch this in the theater. The trauma, I swear. So sick, so demented. I love it. And the homage to Bob's death from the original, which is my favorite kill from the whole franchise. It's just, yes. And the way the score, the track, Corey and Michael, kind of fades into Boy Harsher's Burn It Down. Oh my god. It's so good. It's so good.
What the hell is...
The way he sits up, he's got those abs of evil.
Y'all know the Lois Troll story? She teased a man with brain damage and then he snapped.
So I haven't talked about Willie the Kid yet in this video, but he's this radio host in Haddonfield. Kind of been this voice in the background of this entire film. Almost this representation of the collective mindset of Haddonfield. Like just spewing lies and fear into the air. Anyway, he has my favorite death scene in this whole film coming up here, so.
I can smell her on you. She's trying to take you away from me, isn't she? No.
Mental institution. This is crazy. Bitch needs a straight jacket.
You know there are two kinds of evil.
And I know with this, there was some speculation. And I even questioned it too when I first saw it. Like, if Lori is actually here in the scene, or if it's just Corey's imagination or some kind of hallucination. Now, according to the writer, she was there. But I do like how it was shot in such a way where it is kind of ambiguous. Like, you could question it. I don't know. I just really enjoy the ambiguity of it.
I'm just a man, and I always mash.
Oh dear. This scene that always seems to get everyone's undies in a bunch. I also had very complicated feelings about this scene when I first saw it. I was like, in what world are they doing this to Michael? Like, it just felt so wrong and weird, especially with, again, how strong Michael was at the end of Kills. But after sitting with it, and especially when you truly come to terms with what this film is really about, and then it's not just about Michael, I think it takes the edge off and it makes a lot more sense. And like, I truly don't mind seeing Michael in a weakened state. It almost kind of adds to the mystique of Michael's character overall. But I know people are just so upset about like this scene in particular. But to me, you know, it's not like it's Jason Goes to Hell. It's not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Two films that I actually do think disrespect the main villain. It's like, at least we have the same Michael, even if he is weakened, even if he is watered down, whether or not you think they made him into a It's like, did you see the bloodbath that was Halloween Kills? That is your movie if you want to see Michael at his strongest. Realize that this film isn't about that anymore. And if you don't like it, move the on with your life. Go watch Halloween Kills. Oh wait, y'all complained about that one too, so I don't know what to tell you.
Fuck your own. Oh my god! What the
Yeah, this whole junkyard scene, very Christine. And it's just such a spooky setting for a kill sequence. This whole sequence just has so much going on. It's just such a ride. And poor Ronald.
I got you!
Oof. Poor bastard.
You did too.
That blowtorch death scene, I just remember this collective gasp in the movie theater when that kill happened. And yeah, Michael and Corey love stomping on heads. Michael with Sartain's head in 2018 and Corey with Margot's head here.
I have laundry. A little ice cream? A little cookie?
And And I know the death of Corey's mom was pretty significantly cut and that it's like a feature on the Blu-ray deleted scenes. I've seen it. I own the Blu-ray. I've watched all the behind the scenes, all the special features, love them. And I think the death scene is fine. I don't love it. It kind of feels like Corey is just stabbing a pillow for most of it with like feathers going everywhere. It does have some good special effects towards the end of the scene, and kind of almost has like a Black Christmas thing going for it with like the kids singing outside and the glass shattering, if you remember Margot Kidder's death from Black Christmas. Love that. But yeah, her death was just overall okay. I kind of wanted more because I like hated this character so much, but it's fine.
Songs for the resurrection.
Now this death here. Talk about overkill, but in the best way. Diana Prince. I literally gasped out loud when I saw her. Love her. Again, I wish her death would have been included in the film, but I digress. This kill is just bonkers, and with the Cramps playing in the background, like the whole soundtrack is so good and so underrated. Also kind of gives me like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 vibes with Stretch in the radio station playing the Cramps. Ooh, I love it so much. Like I don't have words. I don't have words. But apparently neither is Willie the Kid anymore, so.
Yes, I would like to report a...
Yeah, I was sitting next to my mom in the movie theater watching this, and when Lori said this, I heard my mom gasp. She was like, no, no, no. And I turned to her and I said, Mom, don't worry, like this is a trick. Like they would never, ever have Lori herself. Like there's no way Lori would go out like that. No way. Didn't believe it for a second. Nope, still didn't believe it.
Did you really think I killed myself?
Hell yeah, that's my girl.
Did you really think that Allison was gonna be with you?
If I can't have her.
It actually is tragic when you think about the downfall of Corey. Like just this absolute downward spiral of this character who was so seemingly innocent at the beginning of the film, and just like everything that happens to him. It's tragic for him to go out like that.
What did you do to him?
And talk about the worst timing imaginable. Corey knew what he was doing though. And also Andy Matichek, just so phenomenal as usual. Like I know I hadn't really talked about her yet in this commentary, but yeah, I have to shout her out because she was amazing as usual. Father is home. Yeah, it had to be Michael to inevitably end Corey. It just had to be him.
Where's Lori? We're responding to a call. She called in a...
And I love how the radio tower kind of represented that last little bit of hope. Almost like that last little bit of humanity within Corey. And now, as Allison sees it just completely burning down, she realizes the reality of the situation. And here comes the fight. I swear, one of the main things keeping me from passing out in that theater was the fact that I could not miss Lori and Michael fight. I just could not do it. I was holding on for dear life. God, this is everything. This is everything. H2O. And I love the little throwbacks to previous films, like the garbage disposal H2O, the knitting needle, original.
I thought maybe you were the boogeyman. You're just a man who's about to stop breathing.
This was just too much for me. It still is a lot, but it's just so freaking good. I can't fathom how people were disappointed by this. I just don't get it. Damn, Allison. I do wish we could have maybe gotten a little bit more of Allison kicking ass in this one, but we did get a lot of that in Kills. Like, she had her shining moment in Kills, so it's okay. She was a little bit distracted in this film, I'll say that. Oof. I have a real hard time watching that, I'll be honest. Like, that is just something that makes me extremely queasy, so yeah, not gonna look at that.
He's dead. I'm not dead enough.
Isn't how we do.
The procession. I could not believe my eyes the first time that I watched this. Truly. I knew going into this that either Michael or Laurie was gonna die. Possibly both, but there was no way for them to both technically survive this. And I honestly figured it would be Laurie who was gonna die by Michael, like maybe she would sacrifice herself, go out in this big heroic manner. Because in my head, I'm still thinking, you can't kill Michael. This is why this conclusion was so shocking to me. I'm like, he's the boogeyman, you can't kill evil. But it makes sense given what the film is about at its core. And I'm all for Laurie getting her happy ending. I know people are fed up with Laurie, blah, blah, blah. I love it for her. And if you would have asked me before this film, I would have said the Halloween franchise is Michael, that he's the face of this franchise and there's no franchise without him. And while I do still think there is truth to that, obviously, I think my mindset has changed. And this is coming from the biggest Michael Myers fan. I love Michael. But this film just introduced just so many new ideas in my head. Just truly made me think about what made Michael so scary in the first place. And the fact that that same evil can be in anyone, anywhere. I think this franchise is about a lot more than just Michael. And I think this film proves that.
I've said goodbye to my boogeyman. But the truth is, evil doesn't die. It changes shape.
And that's the film. That's the film right there.
I wanted you to know I was thinking about you.
Aww. Oh my goodness. And as soon as I heard Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult play, just literal tears in my eyes. I'm not kidding. Not only is it an homage to the original with this song, remember when Laurie and Annie are driving to babysit and it's playing in the background in the car while Michael is stalking them. The most perfect way to end this trilogy. Well, that was Halloween Ends. It's bittersweet because while I truly enjoyed watching that film and just talking about it, I can't help but feel sad because I want more. And it looks like there might be more Halloween related content in the future. So that's exciting. Of course, I will be here to cover any new Halloween news that comes out. But yeah, Halloween Ends. No doubt probably the most controversial film of the entire franchise. I mean, maybe other than Halloween 3 or Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I know I've heard people say in regards to this film being the concluding entry to a trilogy and a franchise that it fails because it was not what people were expecting. So I guess people were expecting just a solely Laurie versus Michael plotline showdown, and that the marketing was misleading, and that this was unsatisfying because it revolved around a completely new character who we weren't invested in, and we should have had just Michael Myers, blah blah blah. I personally feel that even though there was so little Michael in this film, his presence is still felt throughout the entirety of the film for me. I mean, this film is about pure evil taking different shapes. It's in Corey. It's in the whole town of Haddonfield. Now, do I think that it would have been better if this had been the second installment in the Blumhouse trilogy and then maybe Kills had been the concluding chapter of the trilogy, you know, kind of ending on a note where Michael is really strong? Not really. Although I understand why people might think that might have been better. I think that probably would have satisfied more people, like ending the franchise with Michael being, you know, really strong and conquering all the citizens of Haddonfield, you know, the way Kills ends. I don't think that would have been the better conclusion for the franchise, personally. I just found the themes in this film so profound and a much better conclusion to the trilogy and the franchise, and to Laurie and Michael's stories. But as we know, can't please everyone. And I think what really gets me is just people being so upset that others enjoy this thing. They tear these people down, harass and threaten actors and the director of the film, and even make a petition to rewrite this film. I'm sorry, but who the do you think you are? Yeah, I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to end this video being angry. It's not good for anyone. It's bad for my health, and I just don't want to do it. But I do want to say that I'm so happy that I connected to this film in the way that I have. And I wish more people could see what I see in the film, I guess. I think if you were to have shown me some of the things that happen in this film on paper, like somebody taking Michael's mask and killing people while wearing Michael's mask, Michael being thrown into a freaking grinder, I would have been like, yeah, no way. Like, that's the boogeyman. That's pure evil. You can't kill him. But I just can't help but admit what David Gordon Green and his crew did is just something so deeply strange and wonderful and different. And not just different for the sake of being different, but just saying, I'm gonna make this thing and it's not gonna be what most people are expecting, but it's a story that I'm passionate about. I'm gonna do it anyway. I think it's just incredible and actually super inspiring to me. And you know what? Is Michael even truly dead? His form is dead, right? His vessel, the shape. But what made him the boogeyman can never be demolished, ever, because evil doesn't die. It just changes shape. So yeah, if you truly hate this film, that's fine. I will agree to disagree. But I'm not changing your mind. And you're definitely not changing my mind. I love this film with all my heart. I love this franchise with all my heart. And I'm so excited to see what happens next in the Halloween universe. Whatever they come up with, movie, TV show, I'm down for anything. Thank you guys for watching Halloween Ends with me today. This franchise was the reason I wanted to start making these videos in the first place, just because I wanted to talk about the Halloween franchise specifically. So this has truly been a blast. And like I said, it's not over yet. Subscribe to my second channel if you're interested. I'll have it linked in the description box below. And yeah, have a very spooky Halloween, and I'll see you in my next video.